Welcome to Coffee and Cannabis. I'm your host, Alyza, and this is
Corey. What up?
And today we got a big veteran leader in the house. All right, Jen Baxter from BVN. Please give it up.
Thank you.
Yes. So before we get into her incredible story and learn more about the organization that she represents, talk about our coffee and our cannabis, of course, I have local bodega again. It's one of those days we on a run, you know how we do. So we supporting our local bodega, K1, Stop, Kenny, our homies over there, support them. And then, Corey, what we got?
The two of you are smoking Caesar.
Okay.
I am smoking ice cream mints.
Okay.
All of them tested very high.
Corey, you know, okay, first off, we have this podcast and we're trying to like normalize that we could have these conversations. And I feel like at this point, this is like an experiment for him. Like, how fucking high can they get and really have intellectual conversations? Like, fam.
I'm here too.
Why are you torturing us?
Listen,
like, come on.
It's not my fault that sometimes there's a couple good runs of good batches of weed that test good. Like, I'm sorry.
You just be wanting to brag. Come taste me.
I'm not
taste
a
this.
grower, so you know.
Nah, you be hyped off of it. All right,
take
listen.
Your time.
Yeah, a couple puffs, because I'm not trying to be smacked. Listen, Jen, I want to really dive into a lot about BVN, which stands for the Balanced Veterans Network, right, for anybody who doesn't know. But on this podcast, we really want to learn a lot about the people that represent these organizations, how you got there, what your journey was like. We share a commonality of being veterans, and that, that's really sometimes tough in this industry, especially when we talk about veterans not having access to cannabis because it is Schedule I drug and working with the VA. We're going to go there, but first, I want you to take it back to where you first started. Like, where was your first start with cannabis? What did you do before?
My first start with cannabis, so to kind of go back a little bit further, I was raised in a law enforcement household. My dad and stepmom were cops.
Yep.
Dad was both of them retired from the sheriff's department. I'm from upstate New York originally. And so it was all about following in line, following the law, like don't go left of center, like everything. And so I went into the Air Force, took a year after I graduated high school, went to the Air Force, went into law enforcement. So
you were security forces.
Security forces, yes.
Okay. Yep.
Had a really fun career. Like, honestly, I got to experience a lot of different jobs in the career field, a huge spectrum, everything from corrections to Marine Patrol. I was a criminal investigator for a while. I worked with OSI and their counter-drug office at one point in time with some drug cases that they were running. So I continued on to that, like, now I'm enforcing the laws, and just kind of like living this straight and narrow life. And about year 12 into my career, I had a foot surgery that didn't go well. Ended up having 3 foot surgeries back to back to back. And I had surgeries throughout my military career. I had spinal surgery at one point. I blew my knee out. I had other foot surgeries. And they were good. Like, everything was fine. Never had any issues with anything. Well, having back-to-back-to-back surgeries over a period of 2 years, what do? Your treatment plan is pain pills. Yep. Right, exactly. So here start the pain pills while I am in my 13th, 14th year of the Air Force.
How many years did you do in total?
A little over 14.
Okay.
Yep. So 3 failed foot surgeries. They're like, we're going to med board you. So went up for a med board. They're like, well, you've got this, and this. We're going to offer you retirement. So they offered me medical retirement, thankfully, versus like a discharge.
That's early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was the best case scenario
That's
in my
great.
situation.
Yeah.
To get offered retirement. So pain pills, fentanyl patches at one point in time while I was active duty. And I was medically retired. I was stationed in San Diego, did my last 5 years there. I was actually stationed Marine Corps base, and moved to Kansas City. Didn't know anybody, didn't have a support system. I was in a relationship at the time, and it was like, you go through all, as you know, the preparation to be in the military, all of the like building you up, breaking you down, building you up, making you like what they want you to be. And then you come to get out, like whether it be retirement or discharge or separation. And it's like, here's your week-long transition class, how to write a resume.
Have fun out there.
Yeah, taps.
Yeah, taps is such a joke.
Have fun out there now. Yeah.
Right. Don't
fun
wear
out
this
there.
type of perfume or cologne when you go to an
Yeah.
interview and like, thank you, have a good day. Here's
It's
how
a
to
lot
fire
of
me.
shedding to be done.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you lose like such a huge identity that you've lived for such a long time, even 4 years, like 4 years, 25 years, it doesn't matter. Like it becomes a huge part of you. And so I felt like I was pretty much set up for failure at that point in time, unfortunately. I was rated unemployable at the time. So I moved to this new city, don't know anybody, go into the VA healthcare system out in the Kansas City area, and this treatment plan essentially just continued. And so it was a total of 6.5 years I was taking like opiates or, you know, a whole type of, all different types of pharmaceuticals. And towards the end of it, the last couple of years, I was getting prescribed 600 pills a month
Wow.
from the VA.
It's like 20 pills a day.
Oh yeah, at least.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
480 of them were oxycodone.
Yep.
60 morphine or 30 morphine, sleeping pills,
Yep.
anxiety, depression meds, 600 pills a month.
Hopefully something
And
like Benadryl, all the itching. Oh, pain pills, they make you itch. Oh,
You know what's so bugged out about that too? Because they ship them to your house, right?
Yep.
And I have the packs and packs and packs that I just dump every month. I don't even take half of them because they're. But what always bugs me out is like they never check what can't mix with what. So I've heard stories of people actually having adverse actions because they were taking all these things that were not supposed to mix with each other.
I believe that.
They don't even
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah.
All right,
just
so
throw a pill at the problem.
Yeah. And then when you have a side effect, here's another one. Like
Yeah, here's one
a
for the
pill
side
side
effect.
effect. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, I've seen pictures of veterans'
Terrible cycle.
tables, coffee tables like this, and it's literally 30 to 40 bottles. And that's just like, well, this is getting my daily meds ready. And it's just like obnoxious and just disgusting to see.
Like, that can't be.
Yeah.
That can't be life, right? You can't actually live a normalized
No.
life.
no,
No
popping
quality
that
of
many
life.
pills
no,
in a day, whether good for you, bad for you, whatever. Like that's just not normal
right.
for
And I
someone
trusted
under the age of like 70. That's
Yeah,
just
seriously.
can't be normal shit. So yeah,
Yeah. But you trust it because it's like, well, this is the healthcare that you are afforded, and
Right.
like, here's your doctor, and this is what we're giving you, and it's just like, okay. But like you said, like no quality of life. I was existing. I was sucking air every day. Like that's all I was doing. I had no purpose. I had no friends. I have no like nothing. It was like wake up feeling edgy because I hadn't had pills all night. Take my oxy. Wait 4 to 6 hours. Take more. Wait 4 to 6 hours, and it was like day in and day out like this all the time. And I was super unhealthy. Like. Just everything. My diet was shit. I was like just so unhealthy. Like everything about my situation was just toxic. And I got out of bed one day and went to use the restroom. And I sat on the toilet and I thought to myself, I don't even want to have to deal with this every day. And in my head, I was like, what the hell?
what did you just think? Yeah,
Like, I was like, if I mentioned this to anybody, they would be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, you need
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
And I knew
Absolutely.
right then and there, like, this was not me. Like,
Yeah.
I had lost all interest in everything that I enjoyed. Like, I really like music. Like, I just didn't care. And I was, like, not nice to people at all. So I realized that, like, I needed to, like, do something different. And I had read about veterans that use cannabis. But, you know, with my background and everything, it was like, you know, I'm
dope.
right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a druggie. So I did check into it, though, and talked to some people that were veterans that had used cannabis and was like, well, I'm just going to try it. Like, I'm just going to give it. What do I have to lose? Like, I'm going to
Right.
die on this shit. I might as well try
That's a
something
fact.
else.
Yep.
And I knew it. Like, I had a feeling like my body was gonna like just shut down one night. Like that's how I felt. It was just like it was a horrible feeling. And so, of course, living in a state where I didn't have safe access at the time, I had to just kind of roll the dice with what I get. but fortunately it helped. And I just kind of picked a date. Like I got more active. Like I started bowling that winter, like just getting out of the house. You can't do anything else in Kansas City in the winter except like indoor stuff. So like I got on a bowling league and it was on base. So I was around veterans, which helped. And then just picked a date that spring, and it was like March of 2016. And I picked a date and I'm like, okay, this is the day I'm going to start. And I started like a Beachbody program. And was like, it's a 28-day program, and I'm just going to do it and follow it and see what happens. And I would get up, I prepped my food the way it told me to, I did the 30-minute exercise, and the rest of the day I sat on my ass because I'm like, I did what I needed to do today.
Yeah, I did the mission.
Yeah. And transitioned myself. I was like, there's no way that I'm going to tell anybody that I need to get off of these pills. Like, I didn't want to go into a facility, and I, being stubborn and thinking I could do it myself, I did, fortunately. I figured out a plan that worked for me, was able to do it. And then, like, it was like just these little baby steps and baby wins and like more energy and starting feeling better and getting out of the house more. And it's like just this momentum just took off and just kept building and building. And during the time where I was kind of just sitting around, like I said, I was smoking cannabis, and all of a sudden it was like, this is why you do these things. And this is, it was like all of a sudden these like connections were made about like who I was.
It like opens the world to you, right? Oh my God.
Oh my God. I'm in my
People
phone,
don't
right?
understand.
Like journaling in my phone, like not even writing it. And I was typing all these things, and I'm like, oh my God, like this happened to me at this point in time in my life. And why am I like this?
Yep.
And it was like all of these connections were just all of a sudden made, and stuff made sense. Like
Corey likes to call this stars and moons.
Yeah.
No, that what she's saying is different. That's like, listen, sometimes
they're all awakenings.
Listen, no, sometimes cannabis can be your therapist. That's what it is. It's
That's
like,
true. It does make you think deeper.
if you're taking all those pills, you're already, the pills close your mind, right?
Yes.
They limit access to your full ability.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cannabis just opens it up a little bit, and you're like, oh. Right? Now, granted, I was 16 smoking weed, staring at a white wall, and swore I saw Jesus. But
That's
hey,
a big win.
Listen, I was stuck. I stared at a wall for an hour as a teenager once. I was like, this cannabis is strong as shit. That horrible early 2000s single, like 7% weed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's more of a, you stop using something that's limiting your brain power.
Yeah.
And even while you're doing both, they fight each other, right? But you have something that's fighting back a little bit. Use a little bit more brain power. Have a little bit more open, and then you made your own mission with the weight loss and all that. So I understand that idea of like, I'm going to have a plan. It's going to be a simple plan, and we're just going to let that grow and grow and grow and grow and continue. It's just like having any career. Like you start out at the bottom and you work your way up. So that makes perfect sense to me. That's not stars and moons.
What do you think is the timeline of this for you? Like from when you were like, I'm going to start smoking weed, I think this might help me, to like when you really were like, I feel like I'm starting to see my passion and my purpose align.
So I would say from March until about September of the same year.
Okay. And that whole time,
6, 7
medicating
months.
and really like...
And really just taking these little baby steps to having progress. And, when people, myself included, go to like start a new endeavor, it's like, I want to do it all today and it's going to be results today.
Yep.
And I really learned, I know a lot of like, this is cliche, but I really enjoyed how it became like my own process, how there were steps to it and how I took the little wins. One of them being every month at the VA, I would show up day 29, show up at the window at the pharmacy, get in my car because I'd been out of pills, get in my car, have a Red Bull, take my Oxy, drink a Red Bull, go home. Jesus. And my first win with
That's a wild mix.
Yes, that is a wild mix.
Like,
if you know your chemistry.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I was craving cigarettes, so I was smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day with these pills. Like, it was just eating sugar, like living on sugar, pills, and cigarettes. Like, that was my life. And I went to the VA after I, had got myself off of everything, and I said, well, I'm just going to still like go pick them up, right? Because like, don't stop too much at once. So I go to the VA, pick up the pills, get in my car, drove all the way home, and put the bag on my dresser, and was like, I haven't done that in years. Like, that was my first win, and it was as silly and small as just getting it home and not taking any.
Yeah, changed behavior.
Not needing it in the car before you drive home.
Yep.
Big one.
And then it was like, okay, now I have a backpack full. I think I had like 900 pills, and I took them to the VA and went to my appointment, and I said, I'm in crisis mode. I need to get this out of my house. Like, I got to get rid of these pills, whatever. And
So it looked like a drug dealer.
my provider goes, well, aren't you still in pain? And I said, yes. She goes, well, do you want muscle relaxers or something different? No. Like, I don't want any of this.
You got that Kush.
Yeah, people have no idea how easy it is. Like, so simple. Just
That's
whatever
wild.
you want. Yeah.
They made me go to the pharmacy, to this person. Nobody knows. So some VAs have amnesty boxes where you can walk in, no questions asked, you dump your meds. This particular VA did not.
Okay.
And so after talking to 4 or 5 people, I ended up at the VA police station in the VA. And they're like, well, we got to get this charcoal bin for you. And they bring this charcoal bin out, and there's an audience watching me dump each bottle in there.
Right.
And I'm like, this is fun.
Right.
And I was about to leave. I was so frustrated before I went there that.
It's like, gosh, I'll just take the pills.
Right.
That's so dumb.
I could have made
So much money.
so much money
Right.
on
Flipping these pills.
those pills. And here I'm trying to do the right thing, and it's like a freaking joke with being able to get rid of this shit. And then you got to have an audience standing there, and they're like,
God.
wow, is your provider so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Well, this doesn't surprise us. She's known to over-medicate vets.
Oh, thanks. That sounds
Cool.
Thank you
Glad
for
I
that.
didn't
Thanks for letting me know
be
that.
one of
I
them.
feel
Yeah.
happier about our medical system.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was just,
this
it
is-
was such a crazy process.
You really could
It's
just flush that
definitely
down the toilet.
an all too
Yeah.
common story.
Right. Flush them out toilet. Sold them. Like,
Yeah.
That's
I'm like, never mind.
No, but that's a all too common story, right?
Yeah.
And it's sad to even say that that's a common story because vets are only 1% of the population. So the fact that many people are in crisis, that many of them are in crisis, that many of us are and were in crisis, you know? So now you're here, and this is this. Now you're like really tapped in with your mission. Like, how did you start to say, okay, now I think I want a career in this?
After about 6 months and had this clarity and really started diving deep into myself and, processing a whole lot of stuff all the way back to my childhood, through the military. I had gone to some really great events, some veteran events. I can't think of the name, like retreats. Wounded Warrior Project, actually. I went through a couple
That's a
really
great
great
group.
retreats with
Yes.
them. Project Odyssey.
Shout out
and
to
they had a female
Warriors.
retreat.
Great organization.
Yeah, absolutely. They really helped me out a lot. And as I was kind of like having some clarity on things, I realized like trauma is trauma. Like I would feel bad that I didn't have the same negative experiences as other veterans and wasn't suffering the same way. And
like survivors remorse almost.
Yeah.
right, like, oh man, I only deal with this. And it's like, no, like trauma is trauma. It doesn't matter where it came from, how it started, like how you deal with it, whatever. Addiction's addiction, dependency's dependency, it doesn't matter. And at that point, it was like a light bulb went off, and I was like, I know how well people can start feeling if they just do these things with their life. And it was like, I rearranged my diet. I started like doing physical activity, plant medicine, being with people that supported me, like finding the community aspect of things. And I was like screaming at the rooftops, like, can somebody get me in the organization? Like, I want to be a peer mentor. Like, I want to talk to vets. Like, I know that if they're like suffering in the same place that I am, like, these are things I know this stuff can help them. And I just like, at that point in time, just wanted to do anything I could, wherever I could, to share my story and to try and help people and show them like steps that they could do. So I ended up packed up my car, left Kansas City, went back to San Diego, went and like visited some friends around the country, and just really became who I was as a person, because it was in a box as a child. It was in a box as a military. I finally decided that I started living for myself, and I was in my mid to late 30s, and it
Crazy,
was
right?
Finally,
It's such an
me.
awakening.
Yeah.
How long ago date this story for me?
This occurred 2016. So March to September 2016, I was going through all of this.
This is really cool to hear you talk about this, because I'm experiencing this in real time. I just got out of the military 10 months ago.
Oh, wow.
So I am not shedding that layer of me, but like you hit it on the nose earlier, like you lose yourself. That becomes your identity. And what's so interesting, especially as women, we have so many identities that we hold, right? And then as you navigate throughout life, you pick up different ones, whether it's from jobs or by choice, right? Like he has a community of being Greek, right? Then there's
fraternity.
Being in a fraternity, right? That's another identity that you take on. Those are your people. That's your community. Then being LGBTQ, that's a different community and something that you represent. And so to have all of those things and to feel like when you showed up in those spaces all the time, you really left so much of you behind, right? And I know you know this because I was a MA, I was an MP. Security
gotcha.
forces.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
So, and it's funny because when we like do these things, we do some research on people, but I try never to dig too much because I like to have real human connection. I don't like to be some scripted, like, what's your life?
Yeah.
And it's dope when that happens because at this very moment, it's like being able to be your authentic self and show up every day, like having, like we always talk about wealth and money and stuff, and that's really important, but to feel like good is crazy. Like genuinely good every single day. Like the spaces that you're in, I know you were with a bunch of a boys club, a white boys club, right? Being an MP, and you have to like minimize so many parts of yourself. So it's really like a movement. Makes me emotional because I'm like, I kind of feel inspired because like, look at you. Like, look at what this is turned into. Like you are a leader now and doing everything that you said that you wanted to like set yourself out to do. Like now I'm going to tell my story and impact other people's lives. And we're looking like 5+ years later and you are the fucking shit. Yo, I love this. I love this.
Well, let's explain a little bit.
Let's go.
Sorry, Jalen. Let's explain a little bit about BVN.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about
Now
that.
that we have her origin story.
Yeah. No, this is important because the name Balance Vet, right? And this is clearly what we've connected to.
Yeah.
Tell
What's
us.
crazy is before I moved back to San Diego, I had gone down to Texas and ended up staying there with friends for a month. It was just kind of like a transition period for me. Like I finally like felt like I was living. Went down there, hung out with some really good friends for about a month, and went out one night by myself. And I was like, you can't have too much of a good thing. You can't have too much fun. You can't have too much, like, you got to have balance in your life. And I literally went out and got a tattoo that says balance on my inner, like, arm here, right? So I go to San Diego. I only stayed there 6 months, moved to Arizona, find Operation 1620, which was a Facebook group at the time. Cannabis Veterans is what it was called. And it's a group of veterans, just online community that support each other with cannabis.
Right.
People who never used it before. And it was just a really great platform. Got involved in that just as a member. And then back in 2021, I had really started to notice BVN. And so what happened with Balance Veterans Network is Operation 1620 was absorbed into that nonprofit, and it became one of the initiatives.
Okay.
So Balance Veterans Network was existing. There was a founder of BVN, founder of Op 1620. They merged. Now it's one entity, right?
Bigger.
So I was kind of like checking out BVN and like, wow, like here's their initiatives: movement, mental wellness, community, Project Triangle, which is entheogens, so psychedelics, and Operation 1620 is cannabis. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is literally all of this stuff that I have been like experiencing and kind of figured on my own. And here's this veterans organization that represents all of it.
Things. Yep.
And so I signed up, became an ambassador. It was like mid 2021, became an ambassador. I live out in Arizona and was attending some cannabis events, built a little team out there of ambassadors and doing networking events and getting involved with the wellness community and having some yoga events happen, and went to like a somatic breathing exercise. I don't know if you've ever done that, but that is some powerful stuff. Like
breath work type stuff.
That is amazing
intense
stuff. Yeah. So represented there, and then, you know, there's the cannabis community out in Arizona is huge. So I was involved there, and was involved for about a year, really put my heart and soul into it. And then I decided, to step away from the organization in late 2022. So I was there for about a year.
Okay.
Stepped away, for 4 months or so, 5 months, and got a call from there's co-founders. So one of the founders called me, one of the leaders, and was like, don't know like how the organization's doing right now, and would you be interested in coming back as the executive director? Wow. And I was like, holy cow. And I'm telling you, when I left, it was not easy. Like, I mourned it for about 3 weeks. It was like a breakup. It broke my heart.
Yeah.
But it was a self-preservation type thing, why I left. And yeah, it was my community. I put everything into it. And, but I decided that I needed to do that for myself. And so I was like, I need to think about this. And the whole time I'm like, yeah, but you know, just take a step back and like, let me look at this objectively.
That's a big one. That's a big hit. Get like, be the ED. What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Right.
I thought I quit y'all.
Right.
So what made you circle back?
The certain circumstances were changing.
Okay.
There was different things that had changed, and I really felt like I had something to offer this organization, not only from just kind of like going through this process myself, but my dedication to it, like the sense of purpose that it gives me. It's just like, I never really understood when people would say, you know, like, you got to just find your purpose and find your passion. And I'm just like, what is that? But the whole time here I am, like trying to help people and do this thing. So it just, timing of everything just really kind of fell into place. And I learned kind of throughout my journey that if things don't fit, like, don't force it. You know, you just kind of have to wait for things to happen when they're supposed to happen. And you have to trust that if it doesn't work out, it wasn't meant to be. And I had a hard time for a long time dealing with that, because I would get like pissed off and think it was a personal thing or whatever. So Balanced Veterans Network is a national nonprofit. We focus on education and advocacy for veterans and their families for alternative therapies. So like I mentioned, our pillars earlier, movement, mental wellness, cannabis. We have wellness classes. So we have wellness providers that will do yoga classes for us. We have a YouTube channel where all of our videos are posted. So if somebody misses...
The classes are like online? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's dope.
Yep.
That's
meditation.
Dope.
Yoga Nidra
awesome.
was actually recently accepted by the VA as a therapeutic use, which is awesome. Yoga Nidra is amazing practice. So we have providers that do the wellness classes for us. We even do financial wellness classes. We've had them before. And we have the mentorship program for Operation 1620. So we have a really great leader that is doing an educational series on how to grow your own medicine. We do giveaways of cannabis growing equipment, you know, in states where it's legal. We do medical marijuana card reimbursement for veterans for state fees. I think we're in 36 states right now. We're registered to help vets. So they apply. We do reimbursements for that.
That's super cool. That's dope.
It's
Jersey's
helpful.
one of them?
I believe so.
That's dope. Yeah. Check it out. That's great.
Yeah.
It's a great plug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a big deal too.
And so this is where our fundraising comes in, right? Because it's like my drive and my passion since being back is doing as much as I can for the community, because it's like we are there, we're their tool, we're their resource. We have to be doing the things. And my long-term goal is to have like wellness retreats and have people come out to them, or, you know, at least be able to send a group of vets to different organizations. You know, there's so many veterans nonprofits out there. There's fishing, there's surfing, there's equine therapy, which we've done in BVN as well. But it's just all about like, you know, living a balanced life and providing the community. We've released our website recently, and it's given our own platform away from typical social media platforms to be able to bring people together. We have veteran verification process where there's certain groups within the website that vets are only allowed. So we accept family members and community, like civilians, to come and join.
Yeah.
But we protect the veteran community to be able to talk freely and feel like they have a space. Something else that we do that's really cool is we do veteran wellness lounges. So the 4th of July in Pittsburgh, we're invited to go out. This is part of my travel coming out here the East Coast, but we're hosting a veterans wellness lounge at the 4th of July festival. And it's vets only. They can bring like their family or support people with them. If they come in, it's a space for them to get out of the crowd, decompress.
That's great.
Get away from everything.
Yep.
And I had a vet tell me one day, like, this is why I don't go to events, because there's nowhere to go. Like, you get overwhelmed and it's like, no, I'm just going to go home. Or you don't even go.
And you're just stuck there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling flooded. Like, you're just going through all of this negative, like, emotions and feelings. And so us providing this lounge, and if it gets one vet out of their house to be able to come to an event, it's completely worth it to me, to be able to afford that for them.
Yeah.
And we have wellness providers come in and do sound therapy, yoga, meditation. So it's like we incorporate the tools into the wellness lounge to share with them, so they can not only just come in and just sit, but here's some practices that are going to help you and kind of help you decompress and reset.
Yep. It's real shit. It's changed my life. It has changed my life. I was,
And you were scared to get your medical card at one point. I remember that conversation, like, nah, you just got to do it.
Yeah. So.
I got my mom to get on it. 22 years Army, 20 years corrections.
Yeah.
And she was fine with me working in cannabis because she was like, however you get paid, get paid. Right? But she was like, I'm not trying that. That's dope. And I'm like, how can you be like, I work here, doing well, and how are we like, oh, this is dope? But
Go check.
But yeah, so yeah, after I got her to, she bought a CBD vape from like a smoke shop, and I was like, don't smoke that. It's garbage. You don't know where that came from.
I'm like, CBD from a.
Yeah, she like, I don't know what she was thinking. I was like, I'm gonna give you a low THC vape.
Okay.
And I was like, only smoke this when you're about to go to bed. So, you know, when you go to bed, take 2 puffs, see how it goes. She does it, and then she's like, yeah, I kind of felt it, whatever, I don't really know. So I got her some gummies. All right, take 1 gummy before you go to bed. She
How
calls
many
me.
milligrams was it?
Probably 5. It was nothing crazy. But she woke up the next, she's like, that's the best I've slept in 40 years. And I'm like, yeah, it's a gummy.
That's awesome.
Ma, it's changing lives.
Yeah, and now she like
changing lives.
has her medical card, be in the dispensary. She in dispensaries as much as I am. She be buying her stuff. I'm
Now
like,
she got the ultimate plug.
Listen.
Okay. So I just have just a couple more questions. I know we try to have a time frame, but when we have a great conversation, now I want to know more. So what direction do you feel like you're taking BVN in? There's more visibility. You're going more places. Like, you know, you're representing as leadership. What's your ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is just to be able to provide as many resources to the community as I can. As many medical marijuana card reimbursements that we can do. Like, I don't ever want to have to turn anybody down for that. I want to have this educational series for people to really understand how to grow their own medicine. I was one of the first, I think, kit is when I was a member, recipients. And the first time I harvested my first plant, it was like, this is amazing. And you've got people there to help you. Like, you've got people that will respond. You have a question, like, they'll respond to you. And just give back as much as possible. I know what I got out of retreats and wellness courses and wellness events. I want to be able to afford that opportunity to as many people as possible, and include family members as well, because that family support system makes all the difference.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and I know there's a couple, veteran-owned cultivation grows. We've talked to some.
Yep.
getting their stuff situated in Jersey
Yep.
to get up and going, that are going to be starting some brands. We've had a talk with a couple. That's just dope.
Yeah.
One, to be able to grow your own and to take that, kind of really take it into your own hands.
Mm-hmm.
To go from 600 pills a month to like growing your own shit is dope. That's a big scope, right?
Yes.
That's a bigger deal than people realize. To be able to, like, I don't need all these pills. I know doctors are telling me I need them, but I'm good. And I'm gonna grow my own shit and make my own medicine. That's a wide berth, of growth. And I think to give that opportunity to other veterans, as the BVN is doing, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So as I think one other big thing is like now they have female leadership. That's a whole nother, right? That's a big win. Mm-hmm. So what do you feel like your greatest challenge is on that front? Because there's always difficulties there.
Being a female leader.
In the military space as well.
It's challenging, when you see the response and the receptiveness of conversations when it's different people. And then you have to try and have conversations or whatever, and you can just tell it's received differently.
It's mind-boggling,
You
right?
just have to work a little bit harder. Like, I'll never forget one day I was on patrol. I'm working a cop job, a street cop at MacDill. I was stationed there, and we got a call for this guy that was, like, angry, and the guy I was riding with was like, you stay here, I don't want you to get hurt. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like,
yeah, I'm already
don't
here
do
doing
that
the job.
to me. Like, don't.
You're like, what year is it? Like, sometimes the shit is so crazy.
Yeah, it is. So it's just that. It's just navigating that. But through my own growth, I've really learned a lot about myself and how to meet people where they're at. And that's really important.
I love that.
You have to figure out a way, and I wasn't like that in the military. And I say now, if I could go back and be, and I'm not perfect, like I have a lot to learn. I do things wrong, whatever. But if I had the mentality with certain things that I have now, if I could go back to the military, I would have been a much better leader, a much better supervisor. It was very like, just don't question me, do what I say.
Very rigid.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like no gray area at all, completely black and white.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm able to see people differently.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like going in the military for me was the best thing initially. My own growth and my own story and everything that's happened to me since then. Meeting people where they're at and just being able to communicate with them, whatever level they're at. Like you just meet them where they're at. And there's so many different personalities and so many stories and backgrounds. And that can be challenging for sure. But at the same time, it's fun because you see, working a table, you have either a family member or a veteran come over to you while you're working a table at an event, and they say, oh my God, I never knew something like this existed. And it makes the 8 to 10 hour day completely worth it.
Yeah.
Like hearing that once, completely worth it.
Yeah.
Because it's so impactful and it's so needed, like so needed.
Do you guys see, I'm sorry, I just thought of something. Do you guys see like a wide range of age of individuals kind of coming? Like, it's interesting when I go to, like, I've been to veteran things, especially with my mom, and you see the person that might even be still in their 20s, did like 4 or 6 years, and then someone that's in their 70s that's like, I was in the Vietnam Wars or 80s, and so it's like, are you seeing that range yet with the BVN?
A little bit, yeah. It's definitely different than some other vet organizations. You typically go into like a VFW and there's a certain age range there.
Yeah, for sure.
And we accept, I will say, any veteran, any generation, any era, any discharge status. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like
The discharge status, that's a big one.
yeah. We'll
that
accept
is a big one.
anybody because if you've got a vet that was dishonorably discharged for cannabis, like should they have done it while they were on contract? Like,
excellent point.
Probably not. But at the same time, like we're going to exclude them, into our community because of something like that. Like, and I know there's organizations that do that, and it's whatever. And some organizations only accept like this generation vet, but there's a space for everybody because it's like, my heart really goes out to the Vietnam veteran generation, just because like they don't talk about stuff. Like they're so like closed up, and you know, if they can come and hang out with us and see that like you can be vulnerable and talk about things, you don't have to keep rehashing all the bad shit, but like grow, like it's cool. We have.
Very
That's
cool.
dope.
Yeah, my grandfather was in Vietnam. He does not talk about it. So.
We do a quick segment called You Don't Know Jack.
Hello.
Corey Jackson. Did you text me on Corey's phone?
She has now stolen my phone. I am not in possession of my phone. And Jalen is texting her the questions to my phone.
Oh, this is a good one.
Oh, that's lovely.
Okay. How does the pH level of the growing medium impact cannabis plant health?
Well, your pH level is going to affect anything and everything in your life. Like, check the pH level in your house coming to from the city water, because trust me, city water don't always come within the range of pH it's supposed to.
Right.
For plants, I'm open. I'm not a cultivator or anything. You've cultivated. I can't grow basil on my but I'm saying pH level is going to affect the medium. It's going to decide if you have a healthy growing plant or an undergrown plant or a dying plant. By the way, we kill a lot of plants in MSOs. Like, I'm just saying, we have a decent waste level of, you make a lot of clones, they all don't make it.
Right.
So, I'm saying that's just pH for anything. It's not really a cannabis specific thing. Growing anything, I should say.
All right, this one is good. What are some common pests and diseases that affect cannabis plants, and how do you prevent them?
He's really trying to make me a grower today. Like he knows I'm not a grower, but all the questions are growing. Diseases I can't speak to. Pests I can. Broad mites, spider mites, fungus flies, fungus gnats. So you'll see that, like if you ever see a grow, or even you see this in vegetables, and they have the little yellow sticky kind of fly trap sheet that they kind of put there. That's to get your gnat, how many gnats per size of your plant you have, right? There's one flies in front of me right now. But yeah, so fungus gnats are a big one, and you can usually tell them because you'll see bacteria growing on top of the soil of a plant. Broad mites, spider mites, that's a whole different thing. They are eating away at the plant and lowering its health. So you might see a lot of damage on the leaves and stuff, but what that does is, because the plant is defending itself, now it's not producing energy to grow the bud, to make the bud the best.
Right.
And then you get bud rot. That's a disease, bud rot, and that's when you if you open up a whole bud, it's literally rotting from the inside out, so sometimes you can't even tell looking at the plant or the bud, but once you like go to break it open, you'll see it's actually rotten and kind of rotting through the inside, so.
Well.
Yeah, and I'm not a grower, so take that. I'm proud of myself that I actually do some grower questions.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
Especially all the pests, because I didn't know all of those.
Oh, yeah, I've signed enough invoices for IPM programs for all the beneficial insects and even ladybugs when I was in Arizona. So, yeah.
What about that little sack that goes next to it? What is that supposed to prevent?
Those are beneficial insects.
Okay.
So they either come in the sachets that you hang on one of the branches.
Yep.
Or they come in a kind of they come mixed with actual like hay or something. And you spread it. I'm not doing this weird hand signal, but you're like spreading the hay all over the plant.
Jalen.
Yeah, clip that. You're spreading the hay all over the plant, but really mixed into the hay are beneficial insects. And those are just insects that eat mites and those kind of things. So they're bigger insects than mites, and they without damaging the plant, because they're predator insects, if you will.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
They just come out of nowhere?
What, like
the bugs?
There's bugs everywhere. Listen, half of these cities are full of roaches and rats. I've smoked many times today.
We have.
Yeah, we have. So you think they don't have insects? Like,
yeah.
Don't get a microscope and start looking at shit in your house.
Yeah, because I'm like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Disgusting. Listen, Jen, it's been a pleasure learning about your story, and of course, BVN. Take the time, shout anybody out or anything you want to get out there, you want people to know, please.
Yeah. If you're a veteran or know of a veteran or want to support our mission, please check us out, www.balanceveterans.org. You can sign up for our community. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And so if you're interested in helping us support our mission, please check us out, send people our way. Our door's always open for them. So.
And big surprise happening on July 4th.
Yes, we have a big announcement July 4th. So stay tuned, check us out, July 4th.
Yeah. Okay.
Big things coming.
Yeah. Super dope.
All right. Well, you already know Corey's going to say we don't have an outro.
We still ain't got no outro.
I promise you this is going to be a priority really soon. I'm not sure when, but really soon. We appreciate you coming. Till next time.
Peace.